So we decided to say, okay, here's everything that you should know that is already available. So it's not something that's coming. This is here already. And if you're not leveraging that, please contact us. Contact your account manager, your customer service manager, and reach out. Essentially, like a smoke signal, whatever, right? Because if you're not leveraging any of these, you probably should. So the first thing that we want to share is really in that first, boxes on the left-hand side of that diagram, as you have requirements and you have to start doing test planning and test design. So think about, if you have received that user story, let's say it's assigned to you, and now you need to analyze it. You need to make sure you can test it, right? So now imagine you have directly inside of test ops that AI agent that is basically doing that initial analysis and evaluation of that requirement of that user story in this example, and then telling you, hey, these are the things that we need to seek clarification. And then you can either provide the clarification yourself if you know it, because as I mentioned earlier, your SME knowledge as testers and testing professionals is, second to none. And that's the unique differentiator of the any testing professional, right? Um, so if you have the context, if you have the answer, you can provide it to it right then and there. And then the test planning and test design will just naturally flow with that additional context you just provide, or that clarification you just provided. If you don't know what the answer is to whatever needs to be clarified, then you can basically reach out to the product owner or the business analyst in with the list, right? Here are the things that I need clarification before I can actually proceed here with my test planning and test design. Once you get the clarifications, then the AI agent will say, okay, now I have everything I need. Let me go ahead and create the test plan. Let me go ahead and create the actual test cases that we'll need to run in order to validate this specific user story. And that's all done inside of test ops in this example. That capability is already available in there, and it's been available for several months. So if you don't know about that, that is something you should definitely reach out, get a demo, do a POC, try it out, play with it, and see if it helps you accelerate your day to day. So think about this as, you're inside of a sprint. Time is running. Usually it's 2-week sprints for the most part. You get, the requirements or the user stories, and now you're able to do all of the analysis and test design that you need to do super quick, much quicker than before, and then be ready to start running the tests and then automating them and so on. So if you think about shift left and doing a lot of in-sprint testing, this is a really powerful weapon that you should start leveraging. And again, all inside of test ops, all inside of the Katalon platform. So now let's say you have the tests, requirements are clear, you have the tests, you're ready to move forward. The next thing that you can do, thinking again about taking care of that backlog of manual regression tests that you guys mentioned, or increasing that automation coverage that you guys mentioned right in the poll, and in managing all of those tests in a single place. We have this AI manual to automate to automation conversion that is also available. So this is an AI agent that is essentially, as you do your manual testing, as you always do, right? In most cases, you have a manual test case to kind of follow and execute those steps. But as you're doing that normally, as you would always do, you have the ability inside of test ops to have that agent monitor that execution behind the scenes, and then essentially at the end of your execution, you will basically have a ready-to-use automated test that you can run, in studio like you normally do. So now what you're doing is you have your manual testing effort. So if you are that organization that has manual testers and automation engineers, the manual testers, they're not doing automation maybe. As they're doing their manual testing normally, at the end of their manual test execution, you have, or the automation team has, the automated tests in studio that they can, if they want to expand on them, if they want to adjust them, or whatever. The point is that that manual testing effort has resulted in automated tests that studio can just pick it up and run. You can run it on KRE, you can run it in the Katalon Task Cloud, and so on and so forth. So it's really enabling that, uh, as you guys mentioned, that manual regression testing backlog to now start getting cut down and cut down more and more and more. It's helping you, let's say, for new features, as you're doing your manual testing of that new feature, it's helping you increase that automation coverage that you guys highlighted in the poll there. Doing that by having, that manual testing effort accelerate that automation effort as well. And ultimately, having the team or having the testing, having the tests ready before that very last day of the sprint, where you're scrambling and trying to see what is it that you can actually get to execute based on the time that you have. And then you have to start making some, risk-based decisions as to what I should not test or what I probably don't need to test right now, given the time crunch and so on. So helping you not only do in-sprint testing, but also in sprint test automation, right? Which is really something that most of you guys are striving to do, are trying to do. And because of maintenance, which is normal of any test automation effort, you never or you almost never have the time to do both in the way that you want to do both. Maintaining the tests that need to be maintained, and also increasing that automation coverage uh, by doing, by automating new tests. So this capability in test ops is helping our customers, you guys, tremendously with those efforts in sprint testing, manual regression test automation, or I'm sorry, regression testing automation, and clear that backlog all in a single platform. So um, keep an not if you have not been exposed to this capability, again, reach out to the team, because there's a lot that you guys can leverage there today. Now, you have created a task, you have automated them, they're ready to run, you run them, awesome. But how do you actually make sense of the results? So we have two capabilities here that are AI powered, that are bringing a lot more intelligence to the way you do that, and doing that for you on your behalf in a much faster way. Which first one I'll say is the AI failure analysis, which analyzes your test results and basically say, hey, these failed because of, I don't know, a locator changed, and then we did self-healing, and are you good with that? Or these failed because the data was not, because of test data issues, or because the environment was not available. Here's how you fix it, right? Or, if it failed because of a legit application issue, then that's a defect. So having AI do that analysis up front, so that you can just look at that and make decisions, as opposed to you having to digging into through everything and trying to figure out yourself. That's the first one. The second one is the AI executive briefing. Okay, you're at the end of the day, or at the end of the week, or at the end of the sprint, and you have to report to your management what is the current state of that release, or that day, or that test run. You can simply ask the AI to generate a brief for your management, and then it will compile all that information for the day, for the week, or whatever you choose, right? It will compile that in a way that is presentable to the executives, to the leadership team, and then you don't have to kind of copy stuff and paste and all that. But it's ready for you to share directly from test ops, or you can just copy and paste it into an email, and then off you go. So these are two capabilities that we've been getting great feedback from you guys as well.
Alex, we have a few questions. Do you want to take them now?
Yeah, sure. Let me go there. Okay. So can you share the link of this test ops platform? I believe I'm using a different one. Okay, yep. We'll share that, Akshay. Uh we'll share that offline. Disha and Erica, if you guys can help me
Yeah.
take note of that. Aroop's asking, are there any capabilities for AI requirements analysis agent to integrate with a Confluence page, learn historical BRDs related to the current BRD in question, and generate AI for manual testers that not only focuses on current BRD, other scope? Oh, okay, okay. So thank you, Aroop. That's a good segue for my next topic here, and then I'll go back to the questions there. Um, so we have released last month the MCP server for both Studio and Test Ops. With that, in Studio today, you can accomplish that use case that you were talking about. You can get Studio Assist inside of Studio. And if you guys are not familiar, Studio Assist is our AI assistant, your AI coding assistant, that now has agent or has an agent mode. So it doesn't just answer questions or explain things. Now it actually acts inside of Studio and beyond, right? So it's an actual agent. Um, so it will create tests inside of Studio. It will update object repositories. It will go to, as you were mentioning here, go to a Confluence space or a Jira ticket, right? Provided those are MCP enabled, provided your organization has activated the MCP in the Atlassian ecosystem, right? So the Studio Assist agent will go to those external tools, get the context that's needed, will come back to Studio and say, based on what I've learned, here are the tests that we need to run or we need to create. And do you want me to create the first one, right? And then you just interact with it, step by step or in bulk. Like usually we recommend step by step because it's AI after all. And then you can start creating those tests and ultimately execute those tests. But now bringing information from outside of the Katalon ecosystem, right? And again, this is all enabled by MCP. And if you haven't check this one out, especially you, Arup. This is something you definitely want to try it out. Many of you guys have been exposed to Studio Assist uh, in the not to the agent mode in Studio Assist. So yes, the agent mode is also new. It's been released, I guess, a month and a half, 2 months. So if you haven't tried that out, or if you tried Studio Assist and it didn't fit your use case, now is the time to go back to it because now not only it's more intelligent, but it excuse me, but it actually acts on whatever it is that you need to be acted on, either internally inside of Studio or also going outside through MCP and pulling the information, pulling the context for you to be able to do much better tests inside of Studio. Okay, and you have here in the screenshot an example like here that this is Claude, right? So we were in Claude and asking Claude to go into Studio, into a project, and then basically, hey, just tell me which projects have these characteristics, and then from Claude, you can interact with the Katalon Studio projects, right? And take action. So it works both ways, just both for the Studio agent to work with the outside world through MCP, as well as the outside world to work with Studio and Test Ops, right? So this is for both Studio and Test Ops. So really exciting. This is something that many of you guys have been asking, and it's been here for, I guess, a month, a little over a month. So please do check that out. Very powerful capability for you guys. Let me see. And let me go roll up here. Yep, I answered that one live. Um, can it automate test case that was generated in the previous step based on the requirements without any manual intervention? automate the test case that was generated in the previous step. Uh, I'm not sure what you're referring to here. Without manual intervention? Well, so I'll answer the way I think you might have meant. But if not, feel free to provide more context, and we'll try to get to it. Um, but yeah, so if you have provided the right context, or let's say the right requirement, and then the AI generated a test, then it will generate on its own. Like, you don't have there's no manual intervention for you to do as part of that generation. Now, obviously, it's AI, so you have to use your SME knowledge, right? And this is the power. This is the real power. Your SME knowledge to determine if that is a good enough of a test case, or if you want to interact with AI via natural language to make adjustments, just like when you're using, ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, right? Until you deem this is a good test case. So, but again, that's why we added that agent to do the requirements analysis, because the better that input is, the better that context is, the better the output, in this case, the test case, the better the output will be. Without that initial analysis on the requirements to, seek clarifications, it's like garbage in, garbage out, right? You have to make sure you have a good set of context that goes into the AI so that the output can be as close to or as good as you deem based on your own knowledge. So that's why we added that specific step. All right, let me move on here to the next one. So improve cloud device testing and live testing. So in Test Cloud, which is our test cloud for running tests across different browsers, across different mobile devices, and so it's your infrastructure for execution. We have made a lot of enhancements there to get true parallelization of the executions across the entire library that you have available there for different browsers and different mobile devices. We also added smart capabilities like the retry logic to make sure that, hey, if there's a failure because, I don't know, the device is slow, or the application is slow, and the test is timing out, so okay, just retry it because this doesn't seem to be like an actual application issue. Let's try it again. And that enables you to really understand how the applications are working, as opposed to trying to figure out issues with the infrastructure, right? So that's the whole point of this new version of Test Cloud that's available to you as well. And the last capability here before I jump into the stuff we're bringing, right, in terms of roadmap, is for True Test. So True Test has been officially rolled out and launched early this year. And one of the key capabilities that you guys have been asking us to do is, hey, how can you tell me what am I missing from my testing compared to what users are doing? And that's exactly the test gap analysis that we have implemented in this picture here that you're seeing. You see the user journey map in blue, with each of those blue bars as different pages, and now you see that those lines or those journeys painted in orange, or I guess kind of brownish or orange. And those orange lines and bars are the things that that exist in production, that users are actually going through in production, but that you are not testing those same flows in your QA environment. So it basically, TrueTest basically say, hey, here's what you're missing from your test coverage based on users. Now, and you see there the link, it's clearly written like generate test cases to close the gap. You click that button there, that link, and now it starts generating those test cases for that, so that you can run those flows as part of your QA testing, or your pre-production testing in QA, so that you can detect any regressions or any changes before that application or that release goes out the door. Because if you don't, and something is broken in those journeys, then there will be a direct impact to your end users, right? So you want to make sure you maximize your coverage to consider also what's going to impact your users once released. So brand new capability released last month also. If you are not aware, if you were not aware and you want to check it out, please do reach out to us because this is really it's a visually it's just exciting because you see, oh man, yeah, I clearly see what's missing. Let's close the gap. Now, this is, all of these capabilities already delivered, plus the capabilities that I'm going to go through here that are coming, have, been caught the attention of industry analysts. So Gartner is recommending TrueTest to their clients, right? And this is like this report is basically available in the Gartner website if you're a subscriber. Um, that they're saying, hey, you should hand off test creation and maintenance to tools such as Katalon True Test, right? So this is something that has really caught on in the industry, this capability of understanding how those users are navigating and making sure you're testing like them to close the coverage gap from your application. Now, in in addition to that, we've seen the first iteration of or the first edition of the Magic Quadrant for AI augmented software testing tools, which places Catalan as a visionary, the only company in the visionaries quadrant, which shows us that we have from a completeness of vision. Our vision is really focusing on helping our customers today, but also setting you guys up to succeed in addressing the challenges that are coming, but are not hitting you yet. So having that long-term view of what's important for our customer base and building those capabilities for when they need it, for when our customers need it, is something that is validated by being placed in that visionary quadrant and by ourselves, which is super exciting. So just know that you are partnering with us as certainly as a long-term partner to help you not only with your needs of today, but also for the future as well.